I think he quite liked my little wave there. Should we have another little wave? Let's have a little wave. Oh, can you wave to me? Wave! Wave! Good evening, gang, and welcome to the Chris Reardon Show, live from Bracknell in Royal Berkshire on this Wednesday night, the 23rd of February 2022. And how are you? Are you all right, my darlings? You can join in the show if you want to. Send a message on the text number. Oh, it's disappeared, hasn't it? Where's the text number gone? Ooh. Now, that's strange. It's gone completely, isn't it? Where's that text number gone? That's greyed out for some reason. Oh, there we go. There you go. There's the text number. I don't know why that's greyed out like that. Anyway, text number up there in the corner to get a direct message to me. I will pop in and out the chat box as well. But always bear in mind, boys and girls, there's so many people chatting away in there. It's quite easy to miss messages, all right? So if you want to talk to me direct, send us a text there. Or you can use the email, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. There'll be a phone line as well, opening shortly, boys and girls. I've been a bit naughty today. I think I horrified a little girl in the swimming pool. Me and my mate, we belong to the what's it called now? The village gym, which is just at the top where the old Hilton Hotel was here in Bracknell. And we've been going up there. It's the third week we've been going there. We only use the pool at the moment. We don't use the gym. Might try it in there again. It's been a long time since I used the gym. I get very bored in there easily. I'm sorry, but in this particular gym, there does seem to be a very high quality of good-looking men to look at. So we might be tempted again. Anyway, so we're going into this swimming pool. We got changed. And as my mate went in first today, which is amazing, to be honest, because he spends half the time talking to the staff. You know, I want to get in there and get my swimming done. You know, chat. He comes in the door. Hello, girls, to the people on the reception. Hello to the people in the bar that we walk past. There's like a big pub in there type thing, and they're open when we get there. Or they're about to open, right? And then the gym on the swimming pool sort of desk where you get towels and things like that. Oh, hello. It's not just a hello though. It's an entire conversation. And I kind of swish past him and just get in there and get changed. Well, somehow he managed to get in there before me today, even though he had the conversations. I must have been on another planet, which is quite normal, to be honest, for me to be on another planet. Anyway, so he's gone in the pool. I've got myself ready. And as I've gone in there, to get down the steps, you have to go past a little bubble pool, you know? They have two bubble pools in there. One is quite hot, and the other one is just very, very slightly more warmer than the swimming pool. And I'm going past this pool, and there's this little girl in there of about 4 or 5 years old and her mum. And I always try and I like to talk to people. I like just a hello usually. Hello, you enjoying yourself? There's a little girl in there. Hello. Oh, hello. How are you? There were fish in there. Yes, she's sitting in this bubble pool. Right, with her mum. This is the cold water. Well, it's not cold, you know, the slightly warm bubble pool. I said, you know, there were fish in there yesterday, and she's smiling. I said, it's all right, there's none there now. Me and my friend over there, we ate them all with chips yesterday, and she laughed. Anyway, so I got off, and her mum's laughing a bit. Done the lengths. Up. I don't stop. He has to stop and talk to everyone, including if there's a lad sitting at the top of one of the pools. Up the top of one of the stalls. You had to stop and talk. Keep stopping, right? I like to get on with it. Up, down, 60 lengths, I stop. That's when I stop. So I've done with 60 lengths. As I come out, she's still in the pool. I think she might have come out for a little swim. Oh, the other thing that happened today, unfortunately for a little boy who was about 8, I suppose, he crossed over into the swimming lane, if you see what I mean. What they do when it's a school holiday at the moment, I gather it was last week or this week, depending what school you went to. So what they do is halve the swimming pool, okay? It's not a big pool. So that half, children and parents and people who just want to sort of muck about a bit, that half, swimmers, up, down. So we're going up, down. And the only time you sort of notice if there's someone's in your way and they're going slower, or perhaps there's someone passing you who's going faster, whatever. Anyway, so I've come down and I've turned, and then suddenly I put my hand down like, what's that? This little boy has unfortunately crossed over from his to mine to use the steps rather than the stairs. So it's like a ladder type thing rather than steps that go up like that. And he said, oh, sorry. I didn't hurt him. I said, that's all right, mate, carry on. Anyway, so I've done my 60 lengths and I've come out again to go past the bubble pool. The mum and the little girl's in there once again. I said, you all right? Have you had a nice time? She's saying, oh, look at that. And I quickly put my hand in. I went, oh, one fish left. That was nice. There's no more, though. I can't see any more. I think that was the last. I'm not sure if she was amused or frightened. Or maternity. I do it to my great nieces and great nephews. I like to terrorise them. I don't know why. It's just something I like to do. Are you the same? Mothers usually get... Actually, the mothers are all right. It's the grandmothers that get annoyed. My sister gets ever so upset. Why are you doing that to him? Do you terrorise your either... Probably not your children. If you've got grandchildren or great nieces and nephews, do you terrorise them? Do let us know. I'm so naughty. So that was a little bit of fun today, really. Anyway, let's say hello to some of you. Over on the text there, just a moment. Evening to Jason Hughes and Diane Jeb. You're always there, Diane, aren't you, love? Thank you very much. We played one of her favourite Kenny Rogers songs today. I believe in you. La da 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 da. Do you know that one? Oh, beautiful. Kenny Rogers. I might have a go myself, actually, of that one at the karaoke. It's such a nice song, Kenny Loggins. Good. And John Paris is there. Evening, John, who says, hi, Chris. Great to see you again. Been missing you. Well, why are you missing me, darling? I'm here every day doing my little radio thing. We have a camera on now doing the radio show. Yeah, we do it on YouTube as well. Not on this channel. If you have a little look on the main, this main UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk, find featured channels and you'll see the radio show there. It's just basically a setup in the corner. I don't work to it as I do with this. I just have it set up in the corner. If I work to it, it would change the whole thing of the radio show, and I don't want to do that. I'm very happy how that sounds. Thank you very much there. Evening to Gary Ross over there in Northern Ireland. Evening, Gary. How did you do with the storms over there? Was it as bad over there as it was over here? Today, after swimming, we came back here, me and my mate, we had a bit of lunch. I had a pizza. I had one of those pizzas from Aldi, mozzarella cheese and sun-baked tomatoes. I often find it's a little bit lacking in cheese, so I sprinkled, don't get me wrong, I wasn't dripping in cheese. I just a little bit more cheese from the packet over it. And I chopped up a pepper that I had left over. Oh, it was delicious, this thing. Delicious. And he had chips and baked beans and 2 eggs on the top, and 1 egg which he dropped on the kitchen floor. You know, I haven't checked the floor. I shall be checking that floor later with a magnifying glass to see if there's any mess on there. I'm ringing up straight away if there is. It's outrageous. Chucking eggs on my floor. And after that, I thought I'd do a little bit of litter picking because I haven't done any since the storm. And I went that way and that way and that way and hardly anything at all. And then a lady was coming down the road. She says, oh, well, I do that as well. I said, oh, hello. I said, it's probably why there's not much here. I said, I know there's actually a few people now who do this road at different times in the week. So it doesn't build up along there really ever anymore. Just a few little bits and pieces. But then I came right round the other side. Right round. When I say right round my house, it's not right round my house. It's right round the roads around my house. And I ended up picking up the contents, what looked like... I could see what had happened, you know, because there was just too much rubbish there. Clearly what's happened is that a couple of these bins, the recycle ones, had gone over in the wind at some point, and the bins would have been collected either Monday or Tuesday after they'd been righted. They'd obviously tipped over. But, of course, the owner of the bin hasn't bothered to come out and clear up the crap that's come out of his or her bin, you know, when it blew over. They just don't bother. There's no pride anymore, is there, about how your house is or how you live? There's just no pride outside. I don't mind inside the house, but I would be embarrassed if there was litter around my house. Wouldn't you? Or do you not bother? Are you one of those, oh, it ain't mine, I'm not touching that? Or one of those people you're like, oh, it's not mine, so don't put it in my bin. Are you one of those? Are you one of those? That's what's wrong with the bleeding countries. No one gives a toss about anyone else, do they? You know, they don't. No one cares less. They couldn't be bothered that there's 2 or 3 bottles outside their house or anything like that. Anyway, so I picked it all up. I think I probably picked up the contents of 2 or 3 wheelie bins today. And I thought I'd only do 1 bag of rubbish. I had 3 bags with me, 2 stuffed in my pocket. And I'd done the first bag, dropped that off somewhere, done the second bag, and it split. Oh, how annoying is that? Which is very, very easy if you get a sharp piece of plastic. And you're probably thinking, well, where do you get a sharp piece of plastic? Just look at the crap from the bleating supermarket you've bought. Something will be covered with hard plastic and you cut it and it just slices. So dangerous. Especially those blister packs. How much do we all hate those? You know? That, I don't know, something like a mobile phone or something. Don't laugh at me. It's iPhone 8. Still works. Still works. An iPhone, actually, they come in cardboard, don't they? But, you know, stuff like... razors come in blister packs, don't they? And you've got to get the scissors, and it's so sharp and bad for everything, including you. And you cut yourself on the fingers. Well, that, of course, that's cut through the rubbish bags, isn't it? But there you go. It's one of those things. And am I moaning about doing it? No, because it's my choice. It's my choice to go out there and do litter picking. You know, if I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't be doing it. As simple as that. But it just is a shame how people don't give a toss about where they live. It's beyond me, it is. Inside the house is, in particular this room. I have videoed this room for you, and I'll be showing that during the show today, because I often tell you about a messy studio, right? And now and again, I've done a little snapshot of, you know, what's in front of me. I've done that before. Tonight, around about 7:10, I actually did this whole room, and you're going to see that a little bit later on, just how messy this place is here. And I don't know how to tidy it up. I really don't. You know, I look at things, I think, well, that could go in there. But what's the point of putting that in there? Because I'll know I want that at some point this week, so it stays there. Right. The glasses, you know, they're just put on here. Little recording device, well, I know where that is, so that stays there. Couple of plugs here, which are rarely used, but they might be, and I happen to know they're there. There's my dad's old football whistle. It's very loud. That was my dad's. I think he did some refereeing. Who made this whistle? Let's have a look. The Acme Thunderer, made in England. Look at that. Metal, dear. I wonder if that's worth anything. Not that I'd sell it because it was my dad's. Look at that. The back of it's welded on. Look at that, eh? There's no plastic crap in here, dear. So that's it. And it's just... So it isn't even an iPhone 5 here. What am I going to do with that? That's what used to take the texts. Used to come on there before we went all high-tech and did it here. So, I mean, it's just so much stuff, and I will show you the video a little bit later on. All right, good evening to Maureen, joining us from London this evening. Good evening, Maureen. Let's just pop in the chat box, see who's in there tonight. Evening to Rachel. Evening, Rachel. Michael Lawrence in the house today. Evening to you. Gary Ross says the neighbours stand smoking at their door, constantly throwing away fag butts. Oh, isn't it awful? Awful. Awful. Hello to Lee Last. Hello, Lee. Good evening to you. Lee says you should come past Savernake Pond, mate. I know where that is. Swear I saw a Ford Escort in the bottom of it the other week. Really? Are you in Bracknell, Lee? Is that where you are? Are you in Bracknell? I know Savernake Lake. It's just down, yeah, with the red kind of barrier around part of it, isn't it? I cycle there sometimes. I haven't done it for a while. In the summer, on a couple of occasions, I've cycled to places like Ascot. And the furthest I've cycled from here is Legoland. Not to go, just to cycle there. You know, just to cycle. And it takes me that way. I actually go through that. If I'm thinking of the same place, Savernake, I come sort of over the main Sainsbury's roundabout. I don't go over it. I go under it, under the underpasses, and then kind of through the back of, I think it's Crown Wood, and then round, sort of through Savernake Park to sort of Forest Park, over that bridge. Do I go over the bridge or not? I think I go over the... I can't remember now. I think I go over the bridge. Or do I? And it kind of through some other places. Yeah. So if that's the same place there. Hello to Effian Davis. Hello. Long time since I've seen you. Good evening, sir. In Welsh Wales, in the valley. In the valley. Hello, Effian. He's not in the valley, though. He's got an observatory. See, I remember these things. It must be 2.5, 3 years since I last saw you, sir. Lovely to see you pop up on there. Hello to you, Effion. How's the observatory going? All right, nice to see you. And there's Glenda in the US of A. She called in last week. How was your date? Haven't been on a date, I'm afraid. Haven't been on a date. And he's left the gym now. I don't think I jumped on it quick enough. That's usually my problem. Very nervous about it. I don't know how to do dating. Don't know how to do it anymore, I'm afraid. My mate was having a go at me. He said, why haven't you gone? I said, oh, I made some excuse. Should have been last Thursday, and I made some excuse. Too afraid to go. What? I mean, what could go wrong? You could just walk off. That's it. Couldn't do it. It's just crazy, isn't it, Glenda? Oh dear, my life is just such a mess. It really is. Thank you, Glenda. Let's just scroll up a bit. See who else is there today. I think I've said hello to Michael Lawrence there, and there's my nephew Gary. Evening, Gary. Hello to Paul this evening. Just scrolling up quickly there, Lisa. Lisa Baker, evening Lisa. Lisa Barker, I beg your pardon, Lisa. There's Adam LaPlumber, evening Adam. There we are. And George Bond and Taxi Bomb right at the very top there. So a very good evening to each and every one of you today. All right. What have you visited and been really disappointed with? Now, this is one you can call in to, and I'll open up the phone lines as soon as we've had a little chat with this, all right? What have you been to and been really disappointed with as a matter of interest? Now, I ask you this because there's a story in The Sun today. Toys R Us. Toys R Us, it says. Toys R Us to return to Britain's high street within months. 4 years after closing its shops. Toys R Us is set to return to Britain's high streets in The Sun within months. The failed toy chain went into administration in 2018, shutting shops across the UK. Now, excuse me a moment. I've just got something hurting my foot here. I think I've got something in the top of my socks. You know when there's something and it's pushing in. It's sticking into the top of my foot. Let's see if that's better now. I do need my toenails cut, incidentally, if anyone wants to volunteer to do those. I've so far been turned down by Stacey, my nephew's wife. Evie, great niece Evie, she won't do them. My sister won't do them. I don't know if I think I've asked her. And my best mate. No one wants to cut my toenails for me. You know, I don't want to go to one of those foot people. I can't be paying like 20 quid to have my toenails cut. It's outrageous. Mind you, I've got a little doctor's appointment for tomorrow for an MOT. An MOT, apparently. Right, back to this. Toys R Us. Now, there's Toys R Us and there's Toys R Us, right? I have been to Toys R Us in New York. Fantastic place. Fantastic. Bright, airy, bit of an atmosphere in there. And I've also been to Toys R Us when it was in Reading some years ago now, and I hated it. It was basically a stock room. There was zero ambience in there. Absolutely zero. No character in the place or anything to make you sort of smile. It was just stacks and stacks of boxes of toys. Complete opposite to somewhere like Hamleys. Or even we have like a Mr. Entertainer here. That's like a chain of toy shops. They're all right to go in. Now and again you'll get someone perhaps doing a little bit of a demonstration in. There's a little bit of an atmosphere in there. But if you want the atmosphere and the fun, I always say go to Hamleys in London because me and my mate go there every Christmas. To be fair, the toys don't really change or move around very much. We just like to go there at Christmas. And you see all these adults and little people in there touching the toys and getting them out and having a little play and all these demonstrations. We were bitterly disappointed last year, though, when we got to the top for our cup of tea. Where's the tea place gone? Couldn't get tea or cake. Very disappointing. The first time we went there, we had this massive piece of rainbow cake. Have you had that before? Oh, don't have too much. It might make me feel sick. I like cake, do you? I do like a bit of cake. There's all these different colours, you know, yellow, I don't know, blue, white, green, and slice of it with icing on the top. Oh, rainbow cake. That's the first. And it's the only time we ever saw it there. I always remember seeing that. Oh, I want that bit of cake there. It's about 4 or 5 years ago, that is. So we always go there. And we like the atmosphere. Something that we found they did not have in the Toys R Us at Reading. All right. Last year, the company's Australian arm signed a license agreement to bring its digital and physical retail commerce back to Britain. It's now said to be ramping up recruitment and looks set to relaunch the brand in the coming months, says the Retail Gazette. So, there you go. And I was not impressed when I went there, Toys R Us in Reading. But have you been to a place at all, I wonder, that you've got there, or perhaps an event, perhaps, or some sort of outing? Have you ever done something and you've been very disappointed? Eh? Toys R Us would be the shop side of thing. One of the events that I've been to would be Selfridges afternoon tea. We were disappointed with that. Bit disappointed with Selfridges. We'll open the phone line if you want to talk about any of this. Oh, just give me a second. Hang on, I haven't done the buttons, have I? 1 minute. Oh, come on. Don't do it yet. Don't call yet. 1 minute, it's got to do something now. Do. And... Come on. Come on. There we go. Lines are open now, okay? If you want to call in. You have done anything or, that you've been looking forward to and been disappointed? As I say, Selfridges afternoon tea, we were very disappointed with that. It just wasn't done properly. Yeah, we've been to all sorts of places. Mandarin Oriental, Harrods, Coworth Park. This is before we'd never been to Claridge's at that point. We thought we'd try Selfridges, that'd be good. No, very basic, wasn't impressed at all. And then when we asked for an extra scone, they blooming charged us £5 each after we'd spent 75 quid. I don't think so, mate. Anyway, we did complain, and to be fair to Selfridges, they gave me a voucher, a complete refund for both of us, at which point I went out and bought a pair of their really expensive jeans. I mean, very expensive. Crazy money. It's only because I had the voucher. What do I do with this? I don't know what to... Actually, I probably would have been better buying a tea set, because they don't fit anymore, let me tell you that. So I've got two pairs of these expensive jeans, and I can't get my fat ass into them anymore. Anyone else got that problem at all? So that's that. Afternoon tea we were disappointed with Madame Tussauds. Awful place. Dreadful. I went there many, many years ago with my sister and some of the family. I think it was Tracy and Jimmy. I don't think Gary was there. And we went to Madame Tussauds. And the thing is with Madame Tussauds, it's right in the centre of London, so it's not particularly easy to get to. Right? It's all buses and trains and things like that. And then you queue up for ages to get into this place. And then you get in, you pay a rather exorbitant ticket price to get in. And then you know what's in there. You totally know what's in there. And that is waxworks, right? But when you get in there, you see a couple of them. Oh, that's good. And then, of course, everything is waxworks. And it gets a bit boring. The most exciting bit was when two of the kids, they put their hands in this, like, molten wax thing and pulled them out again, and they made, like, wax things of their hands. As long as the children enjoyed it, that's the main thing. But I found it incredibly boring. And the most exciting part, I think we went and had a cup of tea and a cake or something. That was quite nice. But it was boring. And I'm afraid I cannot ever recommend you going to Madame Tussauds. Boring place. Dan Woodhouse is calling in nice and early today. Good evening, Dan.
How evening, Chris?
All right.
Yep, fine. I'm find me tonight on the top deck of the 365.
Pardon?
I'm on the top deck of the 365.
Oh, you're on a bus?
Yes.
Oh, where are you coming back from then?
No, I'm actually going up the Mothers.
Oh, are you? Oh, it's a bit late, isn't it, for you? On a Wednesday night?
It's just a bit late. I've been very tired.
On a Wednesday night? Very disappointed.
Yeah, been very tired, and, I'd say struggling a bit to get moving in the way.
Okay.
But I suppose you want me to have a little response to your question about disappointment.
Yes.
Well, I suppose you could say really, like, everywhere, really. But it's to a point that, like, we get so used to it in this country. We're so used to like, dodgy service and what have you, that you just... I mean, for me, whenever I go places, mostly to buy something, I go in, I know exactly what I want. As I just go in there, I know exactly where I just grab it, pay, and get out. You know, because there's nothing like, you know, really... We're just used to shoddy service in this country anyway. So it's just natural, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, it's disappointment everywhere. You know, we used to people, you know, being served, and someone just goes, yeah, what do you want, you know? And
I see what you mean, yes.
There's no, like, smiles and good morning, nice to see you, you know.
Well, that is quite a lot in this country, and a lot, not all shops, to be fair, but there are certain shops that are particularly bad at it. Currys, in particular, I've always found. I don't buy anything in Currys. I haven't bought anything in Currys for 25, 30 years now. I'll go in and have a look, and that's all. I don't buy anything in Currys because they're so bleeding miserable in there. But it is the case in a lot of shops. It depends where you go, Dan. If you go to one of the top-end shops in the centre of London, Selfridges I've mentioned already, Harrods, Ralph Lauren, anywhere like that, you will get good service. If you go,
because it's in the West End, isn't it? Well,
yes.
They would, you know, it's like because they know tourists. Yeah, we've got to like be good for them.
Yes, and also any of the really posh hotels. I don't. I mean, I've stayed in a Premier Inn a couple of times. They've been okay. They've been all right. Go in a posh hotel for anything, whether it's a drink or an afternoon tea or a dinner or to stay there, and they will bend over backwards to look after you, right?
Yeah.
But generally, you know, pound shop. I mean, what, you know, I'm the same as you actually. Most shops, unless I'm in a department store specifically to go to have a look around, I'm the same as you. I will go in and buy what I want and get out again. I went to Primark on Sunday this week. I actually went in there to purchase a pair of Greg's trainers and Greg's sausage roll underpants, but they didn't have any. And then while I was walking out, I thought I'd get another pair of jeans because I've only got one pair at the moment that's fitting me because I've got such a fat arse again. So I bought a pair of jeans while I was in there, Primark jeans, £14. How can you go wrong? 14 quid for a pair of jeans. You know, he was the boy at the till. He was all right. You know, hello mate, and he was a little bit chatty, to be honest. But a lot of the time they're not interested. You go to America, if you ever get the chance to go to America, you'll find it's completely different. When I've gone to places in Florida, like there's a big shopping centre, the Orange Mall, for example, or anywhere in New York, they want your money and they are prepared to do anything to get it, and they will lick you and lick you and lick you until they get that money out of you. They know customer service in America.
Oh yeah, but I know why. I know why it's all like the way it is in this country. It's because there are like, and probably like 2 million people probably stuck in jobs that they don't really want to be in, or that they're not cut out for. You know, it's not in them. You know, even I've had it. I've had it in certain jobs that I was just so pleased to just get out of and all that. And I don't know where we go wrong in this country. I think like there's something wrong with the recruitment process. I think. By the way, have you ever seen a application form for London Underground?
What, to go and work there?
Yeah, it's about 16 sides.
Right.
Or thereabouts, of all the ins and outs of your life. I mean, well, I did actually apply when I was about just turned 18. I think because someone actually did the application form for me. I was like, but I got the interview stage and then I was turned down. So that's what, and actually, admittedly, when, you know, they was doing them documentaries on ITV about the, you know, where all the channels are done.
That. Yes.
And there was, before it started, Mum said, oh, it's a shame you never got that job on London Underground. And then about 10 minutes after the show started, there was a scene where there was apparently a fight at a station, and the station assistant obviously got caught up in it. Everyone went over to sort it out. And then Mum said, "Oh, actually, you know what, Dan? Perhaps it's a good idea you didn't get that job."
Yes, I think it's a good idea you didn't get that job because people don't know how to behave anymore. They're fighting. Forget the trains. They're fighting in planes. People are fighting in planes 2 miles up in the sky, and they decide to have a fight. And they're crazy people. People do not know how to behave anymore. And I was thinking about this today, actually. Where did this happen? And I think it was around 1999, 2000. That's when it started to happen. It started to get bad around there. It seemed to be all right when I was a child. 63 I was born. Through the 70s, never really any problem walking around the streets or anything. Even the 80s, 90s seemed to be okay. I was working all the time and driving a British Telecom... Sorry, that was in the 80s. Driving a British Telecom van around was no problem at all. Even the 90s, you know. On a night out, I might go to Hammersmith Palais and walk back home to my place in Wandsworth, early 90s. Which was a good hour's walk, and that would be at 2 o'clock in the morning. There was no hassle. We'd pop in the kebab shop, me and my mate. He'd have and we'd both have like a cheeseburger or something like that. Pissed on the way home, but we never saw anything. And then round about 2000, people seem to lose the way they act, and they just you watch it on the television. They just especially the interviewers. The interviewers, all they do is shout and scream at each other because they can't get their own way, and that's how people are now.
Yeah, and half the time they say that all people tune in for is just a row. That's why there's about like a certain section of the community that are all disappointed. Oh God, the Jeremy Cole show ain't on anymore.
Oh no, thank God that's not on anymore.
Thank Christ.
Well, that's the sort of programme that I don't like to see on the television, to be honest. But we've done the whole television thing before about, you know, all these programs, Big Brother, Celebrity, and it's just all about rowing and shagging and fighting. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all people seem to want to watch. And pretty people on the telly all the time. Pretty people. So that's
because I remember when I lived when I did actually properly live at Mum's, she'd have the morning programme on ITV, GMTV or whatever. And then she'd go up and have a bath, or I'd go up and have a bath or something. And then she'd come up, just as I'm coming out of the bath. And then I'd go downstairs to get dressed. And I walk it, and then she's left the telly on, and there's a Jeremy Cole show on it. And I've got, oh, no, please. Oh, get it on BBC, quick.
Yes. I have to say, I mean, the contestant, I don't know what you call them, contestants? Guests? The guests on there are one thing, but he was something else. Shouting and screaming how good he was and just running people down all the time. And now, it has to be say, I did watch some of them. Occasionally you might be watching some woman or some lad on there who clearly had a rough time and their head wasn't together. Oh, you shouldn't have left that child all on his own. You're the one who left. You don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
You don't know
Well, there is that old
story.
thing about watching your
why perhaps that woman had left that child or that man had walked away from that relationship. You don't know that whole story. The only bit you know is the bit that they have told. You see, and he's standing there full of his self-righteousness. I'm glad that's not on, and I hope that programmes like that never come back again. Completely different, of course. I don't know if you remember not Crystal Rose. There was a thin... What was her name now?
Oh, what, Trisha Goddard?
Trisha, thank you very much. Trisha, lovely. And that was completely different to Jeremy Kyle. She was warm and she had a heart. Are you dead?
No, hang on a minute.
Sorry,
I'm just trying to put
dead
it
for a
back
moment. Please don't die when I'm doing my chatter. Anyway, there we are.
I'm just getting off. I just need to...
Oh, you're cutting out now, so you must be going through a bad service area. Thanks for calling today, Dan. Nice to talk to you, sir.
Chris. Yes, thank you very much.
Bye-bye. There we are, Dan Woodhouse on the bus tonight. Calling in from the bus. You can call in from a bus, a train. Perhaps you're sitting on the toilet. Give us a call. 020 8144 3477, all right? Hello to Patrick Murphy. Hello to you, Patrick. He loved Big Brother, as indeed a lot of people do, Patrick. A lot of people do. You know, The other thing is, of course, you've got to say, this stuff wouldn't be on the telly if no one wanted to watch it, right? I can see that. I can see that. It's not for me, though. Not for me. Not for me at all. Patrick likes it. Hello, Patrick. What about Vanessa? Vanessa, Gary. Did she have a chat show? Where is she now? BBC Radio London, I think she's on, isn't she? Yes, of course she did. She was on. Oh, it must have been some time ago now, wasn't it? Did she do that morning ITV slot for a while? That must have been some years ago, mustn't it, eh? Big Brother's coming back, according to Michael Lawrence. That's a shame. Is it the Australian version? I think it's the Australian version. Rachel said, I would chuck them off the plane mid-air if they started fighting. Oh, absolutely, Rachel. Absolutely. Why can't? Because we all... these... the people on the planes, what they called the assistants. Airline host and hostesses. Those airline hostesses and airline hosts. Our lives are in their hands, aren't they? They should have a little row of buttons somewhere. So if someone is really bad, they push the button and that seat is ejaculated out of the plane. Well, I think that's an excellent idea, Rachel. As always, we leave it to Rachel to come up with the excellent ideas. And by the way, thanks for your photos that you sent me yesterday of your little computer corner. Computer corner. Computer corner. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, chuck them off the plane halfway. I agree. I totally agree. John, let's have a look there. Hello to MP Dodsworth. Evening to you. Rachel also says, I plugged your show on Radio 2. Not sure if Steve Wright shouted it out as I didn't get to listen to it all. I doubt that. No, they won't read. If it's another radio, you see, it doesn't bother me at all. If it's like another radio station or another radio show or a podcast that's nothing to do with their show, they don't usually read it out. It don't bother me. You've heard me on my shows. Recommending YouTube channels and all sorts, because I do a different thing, but I very much doubt it. But thank you for trying, Rachel, much appreciated. What you've got to do is get them on the phone, you see, and talk quickly like that. Lee Last, Madam Two Swords, never seen the appeal. I could get the same effect with some candles and a few pipe cleaners. I'm sure you could. That's a very, very good idea. Very, very good idea. Yeah, that'll get you busy tomorrow. Make something out of wax tomorrow. Okay. Good. There we are. And back down to the bottom there. Kilroy. I wasn't a fan of Kilroy. He was a bit of a wet blanket, really, old Kilroy, wasn't he? Bit of a wet blanket. George is on the line. Hello, George. Hello? Hello. Oh, what's going on there? You can't play music on the show, George. You can't play music on the show, darling. All right? You can only do that on the radio. Rachel's trouble is it's the pilots who are fighting. Oh, I bet that's happened before. Pilots fighting on the plane. That's not good news, is it, eh? Not good news at all. All right. Anything else that you've been disappointed with when you've been somewhere? Another thing, there was a film I went to see. I cannot remember. Any film buffs know? It was like a sort of horror film type thing. And I remember talking about it loads of times on the show because it was one of the worst films I had ever seen in a cinema. And eventually I walked out. And it was filmed constantly with a shaky camera. What was that film? The film starts, as many films do, right? The film starts and it's got this like home video type effect. Before we had camera stabilisation, which is fantastic. You asked Martin Butler about that, my brother-in-law. Nowadays I could do a little film like this, which you'll see later on. And come on, no one has got a really stable hand. I mean, let me try it now. Let's see how much it shakes. Okay, you can see that shaking up and down a little bit, can't you? As I move across now. Years ago, of course, before camera stabilisation, which is like an electronic thing, every little shake you could see, couldn't you? Eh? Well, this film was filmed just like that. It wasn't Blair Witch, no. Wasn't Blair Witch. I think it was some sort of supernatural, like, horror film. Anyone remember that? I don't remember it, but it was the worst film I ever saw because I was watching the opening and I think, well, eventually we'll get to the main part of the film and this camera shaking will stop. But it didn't. It didn't. In fact, they made a second film exactly the same. And I walked out of the first film before it even started. I didn't bother going to see the second one. Anyone remember the title of that one? It was literally shaking all the blooming time. The Alcoholic Cameraman. It could well have been, John. Could well have been. Let's have a look here. Paul in Amsterdam. Good evening to you, Paul. From except he's not in Amsterdam anymore, of course. I'll have to change your name on here now, Paul. Evening from Paul and James. Still up and busy in Liverpool. Busy replacing a leaking radiator. Do you know what causes that? Not always. People that dry their clothes on radiators. Don't do it because you'll rust it. You think you won't, but you will. I've done it myself. 2 of my radiators went rusty on the top where I used to lay things to dry out. Never ever put stuff across the radiator to dry it out, okay? So anything else you can think of, anything you've been disappointed with, give us a call, 020-8144-3477, or send us a text. The text number up there in the top left corner, okay, 07451 287 337. All right. Have you got any old technology in your house? Now, we often do see this story come around. Some stuff is quite valuable. All that stuff you perhaps had as a little boy or a little girl, maybe one of those Chad Valley record players. Did you have one of those? Chad Valley record player. You did, didn't you? Huh? It was a little brightly coloured thing with a plastic it was, with a handle. Took 4 or 5 of those big circular batteries, you know, the big, I don't know what they're called now. Big HP11? That seems to ring a bell. HP11 or something like that. And you opened it up and put a little 45-inch thing on there. One of the records I remember had The Minstrel Boy. Do you know that one? The minstrel boy to the war is gone. Da, 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 da. Do you remember that? That was one of the records on my Chad Valley record collection. Stuff like that. You know. Maybe an original Monopoly, something like that. Even things like the old iPod. I don't think they do iPods anymore. Stuff like that can be quite valuable now. The Sun is reporting if you've got old Apple gadgets cluttering up your home, you could be sitting on a fortune as the value of retro gear grows. Now, I've got this little iPhone 5. I wonder if that'd be worth anything soon. I might have to wait another 20 years, mightn't I? Do I need to keep it charged? I mean, it's a little bit cracked on the bottom, as you can see there. iPhone 5. I'm sure it will still work. It says some aging iPhones, even iPods. Now, they've been around. I'm getting confused with these things, earphones. iPods. Some aging iPhones, iPods, and Macs that were top of the range a few years ago could now be worth thousands of pounds. People collect this stuff. They collect it. That's because old school Apple products, even those that are seemingly obsolete, have become lucrative collectibles. How much stuff has you thrown away or given away over the years instead of put it in boxes? If you're a young person watching this show tonight, it might be an idea to, you know, whenever your mum or dad throws something away, oh, can I have that, mum? And just put it in a box and wait 20 or 30 years when you're a bit older. Because it might be worth a fortune then. I'm sure I've probably chucked stuff out. When I was a little boy, I used to write I was obsessed with television presentation. And I used to write to the BBC and people like Thames and that. Please, could you send me some of your caption things? And they would send me these bits of cardboard. Okay, coloured cardboard. It was black. And on this cardboard, they literally was stuck lettering. Like stuck letters. And you know those things that come up now? It's all electronic now. But it would say, programmes tonight on BBC One. And you have 6 o'clock, the news, 6:30 nationwide. And I had some of these. that the BBC had sent me, and on a regular occurrence I'd write to them, and through the letterbox would come a big package from them with all these different things. School's television timetable. Do you remember School's television? What happened to that? Where's that gone? School's television. It's gone, isn't it? I would assume it all comes down a line now, I suppose. But we used to have school television on the BBC, didn't we? And ITV. And they'd send me the school TV timetable, which usually went to primary and secondary schools. So I was, can I have a school time? And they would send me one. And it had all the times of all these schools' programmes on. It was a poster. And I had loads of stuff like that. And it all got chucked out. My mother didn't chuck it out. When I moved out, she kept all, mums do that. They keep all this stuff. They do. It's a wonderful thing. And then you lose your parents and it all gets chucked out. It's crazy, really, when you think about it. I had so much old television stuff. One of the channels... Oh, what was it now? I don't think it was Thames. They'd send me the you know, the thing that used to come up at the end of a Thames colour production. I had one of those. I don't know if it was Thames. I can't remember who it was now. Might have been Southern Television. I had all this stuff all chucked out. Crazy. Might have been worth... And even if it wasn't worth something, I wish I still had that stuff now. You know, I'd just get that and look at... In a way, that's why this room is so messy. You know, I've got stuff up there. Things like birthday cards signed by my mother and father, you know, that I just won't chuck out. And there's stamps, not worth anything. I'm sure they're not worth. There might be a stamp or two that's worth something in those badly put together stamps. I was only a kid, you know, bits of sellotape. And there's a couple of... I don't know what that magazine is up there. And this stuff hasn't been down for ages. Now and again, like every 2 or 3 years, it comes down, gets dusted and gets put back up again. Don't look at it. So, I mean, you've got to... You can't collect everything. You've got to decide what you want to collect. Yeah, whoever would have thought, you know, those ticket machines on the buses. Gibsons, I think they're called. You turn a little thing and a ticket comes out the other end. Worth a fortune now. And go and have a look on eBay. Hundreds of pounds they are. Back to the story then. It says the first generation iPhone, for example, is now worth as much as £18,000 in the packaging on eBay, according to The Guardian. The original iPod Classic, which launched all the way back in 2001, so that's 21 years ago now. If you've got an iPod Classic, can go for as much as £36,000 on resale websites. Whoever would have thought that little old piece of metal would now be worth £36,000? It says even newer models of used iPods go for thousands, as fans like their huge storage capacities, which dwarf those of modern iPhones. A study on the pricing of Apple products on resale sites was published in 2016 by Terapeak, a company that tracks the pricing of collectibles. Researchers showed that classic iPods in their original packaging were priced at collectible levels. They noted that one fourth-generation red and black special edition released in partnership, this is an iPod, with the band U2 sold for £66,000. I seem to remember that being advertised. The band U2. Didn't U2 at some point load their songs onto new iPhones? Didn't they give away an album? I'm sure they did at some point. I mean, it's crazy money, isn't it? Have you got anything like that? You got anything like that that might be worth something, do you think? George Bond said the reach on their music thing is a non-copyright. I played it on my YouTube before. Yes, well, you say that. I don't know that. I'm not playing music on the show, and that's it. Ray Reynolds, so tragic to hear oh, well, we're doing that later, Ray. Okay. Let's have a look there. Bono, yeah, it's Bono, isn't it? From U2, yeah. That's Bono, that's right. Check your loft, says Rachel, for the vintage Cindy dolls. Very collectible. Cindy, Do they still make Cindy? They do Barbie, don't they? Why did we get Cindy and Barbie? Was there some sort of, I don't know, competition going on there, I wonder? What did you have, Rachel? Did you have a Cindy or a Barbie? Which did you have? The film. Thank you, Paul Adamson. The film we were talking about with a shaky camera, Cloverfield. Thank you very much, Paul. Oh, I couldn't stand it. And of course, the whole film, Paul, you're waiting for this monster, which makes an appearance right at the very end, doesn't it? Which I was told about. I don't think I ever saw it because I left before I got fed up. I felt sick after watching that film. Constantly shaking the camera, wasn't it? Very, very annoying. Very annoying. What else have we got here? Okay, we're done on there, are we? Good. Excellent messages. Thanks very much. Ray Reynolds just mentioned, of course, that today we've lost Anna Karen, who played Olive on the buses, and you forgot what you look like. There she is there. The lovely Olive on the buses. How much did we like On the Buses? Do you remember the music? Da 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 da. Of course, sadly, wouldn't be allowed now, would it? On the buses, something like that. They don't like it. Oh, it's really success. What fun that was on the buses. Now, what night was that on? Does anyone remember what night On the Buses was on? Do you remember? Green. They were green buses as well, weren't they? Can't remember where they were filmed. Anyway, Olive's died. Shame. She was in EastEnders recently. On the Buses and EastEnders actress Anna Karen has died at the age of 85. Sadly, not because of old age. It says Karen was best known for her roles as Olive. I think probably that was her best role, was Olive in On the Buses, which ran from 1969 to 1973. I've got the box set downstairs. I think my sister bought that for me one Christmas. And the films, On the Buses. Oh, so funny. So funny. She also played Aunt Sal, the older sister of Peggy Mitchell, on the BBC soap EastEnders. She was a great actress, a great comedienne, and a great soul, her agent Shane Collins says. It was a fire. It was a fire. The London Fire Brigade confirmed that a lady died in a house fire in Ilford, which is where she lived, in East London on Tuesday night. They don't think it's suspicious at all. But she was great, wasn't she? Along with all the other people on there. I met Doris Eyre. Doris Eyre was the mum. She was the little old lady. And years ago, when I lived in Roehampton, they were having some sort of fete, I don't know, in a playing field at the top of Dover House Road, which was like the road that you would want to live in if you lived in Roehampton. This was a nice road. Busy road now, very busy. So busy that they put those bumps in, all along it to stop people tearing down there and speeding all the time and all that. But Dover House Road, there was a playing field right at the top there as you turned left. And they had some sort of... You see, isn't it amazing how you can remember these things? How old would I be? 10, 12, 14? I don't know if I went up there with Mum or on my own now even, because then you was a child, you could walk around on your own. Nothing happened to anyone. And I might walk back through the common. Yeah. And we got there, this fete was going on, and there she was. Doris Eyre, the mother, the old mother, from On the Buses. And that was the first kind of star that I ever met, really. And can I have your autograph, please? Yes, of course you can. She signed my little autograph book. Doris Eyre. I must have it somewhere in here, I suppose. I don't know wherever it would be, to be honest, unless it was chucked out with all my other stuff. Yeah, Doris Eyre On the Buses. But it was great. It was entertainment. I used to sit there watching this stuff, laughing, and you just know what people are like now. They'd be sitting there, this is terrible. It was so sexist. Probably, I suppose, there's what people would call racism in it now, but we didn't call it that then, and I still don't. End of. It's just a shame how time has changed, unfortunately. We can't have that stuff anymore. Is it running on any other gold channels at all? I mean, even those gold channels, they shove up a warning now, don't they? Oh, God. How long before we get a warning in front of Dad's army? If you're German, this will offend you. Not might, will. Vera says, I'm sorry to say I was never an Apple iPhone fan. No, some people aren't, Vera. You know, the trouble is, once you've bought one, that's it. You're in the system, and it's difficult to get out of it, right? My nephew's wife gave me her rather excellent Huawei phone to try out, Android, and I couldn't get on with it. Probably a lot of that was to do with the fact I can work this and know exactly how it works, means I'm not really interested in working something else. So you've been locked in. It's the same with the computers in here, right? They're all PCs. There's no doubt in my mind the best computers are Apple. Absolutely. And people, oh, why don't you get an Apple? Well, one, two, three, 4, 5. I'd have to get 6 Apple computers. Who's got the money to do that? That's going to cost you 8, 10 grand. Isn't it? 10 grand. So once you're bought into a system, it's difficult to swap over to a completely different system. And it is a completely different system. My mate's an Apple person. He's got Apple laptop. And I have to say, sometimes he hands it over to me and I start doing... And the picture will disappear. Oh, what's happened now? Oh, you've done this. Oh, can't be bothered. I can work a PC, you know. Similarly, people with Android tend to stick with the Android. They don't go over to Apple because they've bought into that system, you know. There was nothing wrong with that Huawei phone. It was excellent. And I think I've told you what happened before. I'll try it out. And my nephew had taken time and trouble to transfer as whatever he could from this to the new one. It all came with a cable and you could do that, I think, quite easily. So I'm like, all right, I'll give this a go. And I'm in the car. Right, I need to put my music on now. And I hadn't connected the music to the car. And I thought, oh, here we go. That's got to be done. Right. And if I just get some petrol. And I pulled into the petrol station, filled up, took my phone in. And I suddenly realised, oh, hang on a minute. No Apple Pay on a Huawei phone, is there? And that would have had to have been set up. I'm sure, given a little bit of time, I could have done that all. But I couldn't be bothered. And I went back to the car and got my credit cards out and paid with that. And then very, very quickly, I went home with it, or back to the the luxury Waterside Media Centre. Went back there and I played around with this phone. I thought, oh, I can't be bothered to learn it. And I deleted it all and handed it back to my nephew. Just I couldn't be bothered. So you get stuck into a system, and unless you're willing to do a little bit of work, and it probably only would be a little bit of work to get out of that system, you're stuck with it. So I see what you say there. Paul says, I've got an original Sinclair ZX81 kit, untouched, still in a box, going up in price all the time. Go on, how much is that worth now, Paul? What are we looking at for something like that now? Couple of £100? I'm gonna push the boat out and say 500 quid. Something like that? 500 quid? Go on, because you must be keeping an eye on it. I've got a couple of box sets of records. Mariah Carey. I think Michael Jackson. Or Whitney Houston. It's 2 out of those 3. It's Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. 2 out of those, I've got 2 box sets of 12-inch singles of those, which have been played once, which is probably a mistake. You know, but I've got those, and I wonder how much they're worth now. Have you got anything that's worth anything? Send us a message and tell us what it is, okay? I promise not to read your address out or to come round and burgle your house. Or call in 0208. Oh, sorry, I got the wrong thing up there. 1 minute. 0208 144 3477 is my phone number. Gary Ross said, I always had Huawei phones until Trump banned Google on them. Didn't the Google carry on? Sorry, as in YouTube? I thought the YouTube carried on working on the phones that already were out, but not on the new ones. Am I wrong in that? Rachel says the iPhones are too complicated for her. You see, I think that of the Android, Rachel. It's what you've got used to, isn't it? It's what you got used to, darling. Michael Lawrence says a new Apple laptop starts at £700 in the Apple Store. Comparable to PC laptops, really, actually, Michael. Unless you've got a Chromebook. That's not really a computer, is it? A Chromebook. It's just for going on the internet. There's no storage on those Chromebooks. You know, I couldn't do a karaoke night on a Chromebook. There's no storage. You've got to have a decent hard drive in there. Rachel's an Android person, as she say. John Paris said, Dad's Army is too violent. Thank you. Lisa, On the Buses is a brilliant show. Gary Ross thinks it's on ITV3 or ITV4. Thank you, Gary, there. All right. Rachel met Anna Karen Olive from On the Buses, and of course the girl, lady from EastEnders. Met her, a comic icon, lovely lady. Thank you, Rachel. You know the bloke who played her husband in On the Buses? A friend of mine met him. Her name was Gwen. She was a wonderful lady. Gwen, you've heard me talk about her before. She used to come to my karaoke's. She was an elderly lady. It didn't bother her walking through the streets of King's Cross, at 10 o'clock, midnight when I finished. She was quite happy to walk around. Nothing happened to her. And she was never ill, and then she got cancer, and it was fairly quick, and we lost her. But I remember her telling me she met Arthur, who Olive. So Arthur was Olive's husband. Can't remember the name of the actor. She met him once and said something to him, and she said he was just rude back. Rude. Some people are like that, though, aren't they? Some people are like that. Hello to Peter Paliwoda. Evening, Peter. Oh, I haven't seen you for a couple of years. Good evening to you, Peter. Dad's Army, don't tell 'em you blame Pike. Oh, wonderful. You like Dad's Army, don't you? We like all that old stuff. What they got now? Keith Lemon. God dear me. Shocking, isn't it? Dad's Army replaced by Keith Lemon. And those awful panel shows where they just have these celebrities on there. They do nothing for me at all. Nothing for me at all, those panel programmes that are supposed to be funny. Gary says, I bought me a phone, then bought a new Huawei on giffgaff. Had to send it back as couldn't use Google unless you used other apps to get on. Does it not work well with the sort of going through another app to do it then? My nephew said it was perfectly all right because my nephew's got an excellent Huawei phone, as indeed as my brother-in-law and my nephew's wife. I don't know. I think they've all got Android, actually. I don't know what member of the family has got. I think Jimmy has, my youngest nephew. By the way, Frank's doing all right. His new son, Frank, he's all over that little boy, Regular as clock. When I've been up there, regular as clockwork. I think it's 7 o'clock. The bath comes out and he fills it with water and he starts bathing his little boy. Oh, it's wonderful to see that. Really wonderful to see that. Right, what else have we got on our little show today? We've been talking about that. Fish and chips. How much for fish and chips, boys and girls? What are you paying now? That always shocks me, really, because fish and chips was kind of the cheaper... You see, I don't class fish and chips as fast food. It is, of course, because you can be in and out there in a couple of minutes, can't you? As you know, my favourite fish and chip shop, the Trawler's Catch in Skegness. Decent sized portions, that's what we want. These bleeding McDonald's things. Mouth tasting all oily after. I do miss that, the Trawler's Catch in Skegness. We were going weekly at one point, which is great. We used to go there, My brother-in-law and the sister were convinced they went for a long... It wasn't a long walk, dear. He used to get there, walk to the chip shop, which was about 10 minutes, and then walk back to the car another 10 minutes. A walk is an hour minimum. Actually, I did go on my own once, only once, and it was a really dark night, and it was very cold in Skegness. This is a couple of years ago. Why did I go on my own? I don't think anyone else wanted to go on this particular night. And I thought, no, sod it, I want to go. And I got out the car park at one end of Skegness at what I call Lads Car Park. Okay, Lads Car. It's this big car park, a bit dilapidated. And these lads just go in there and bomb round the car park, doing brake screechings and all that. Yeah. So I parked in there, and then I walked up the steps to along the sea, which was in. The sea was in, and it was cold spray, and it was really windy, but not unpleasant. You know what I mean? It was pitch black. And I'm walking along this concrete bit, so you've got concrete there, fence, like, you know, like a, not like fence as in crisscross fence, like railings, more like railing, couple of railings. So I'm walking along there, and then the sea, which was in, I was splashing away. It wasn't particularly rough, but, you know, it comes in and goes out. And I remember this really biting cold wind. Anyway, I persevered, and I walked right along there, got to where the ice cream places are, kind of in the middle, where the road ends and the lifeboats are. And I carried on walking as far as the concrete stopped, and then it went down to the sand. And I thought, okay, well, where do I go from here? Because that was obviously the end of that bit. And then I could see I could walk across to the road. So I walked across to the road, which is like road, sand, sea. Yeah, walked across to the road with a car park, and I carried on walking along until I think I might have got to the entrance to a park. Now that's a walk. That was about 20 minutes. Still not as far as I wanted to walk. I just wanted to walk around. And I come back again. I think I had some chips in there. And then I carried on walking through basically the roads where the houses were. Just having a little bit of a nose around. It's all right. That's a walk. And I do miss going to Skegness. You get decent portions there. But here, it's more expensive. When I go to Churchill's, that's me and my mate's favourite chip shop round here, and I'll have a halloumi burger and chips, usually, from Churchill's, and he'll have, I think he has haddock and chips, and it comes to just shy of 20 quid. You know, and it seems a little bit expensive to me now, fish and chips, the same as everything else. I find McDonald's and Burger King in particular, that's particularly expensive. I mean, come on, 5 or 6 quid for a bloody burger? Do me a veggie burger? I mean, you haven't even known how to kill anything. It's expensive. These fast food places are expensive. And I've said to you before, these people who have got no money, I've got no money. And then their benefits come in. They're straight down to Kentucky with the family, aren't they? 30, 40 quid on a big bucket meal thing. And there's all their after benefits has got on one meal. What mugs are you? Ow, bet we like it. You go to Aldi. How many bags of shopping can you get in Aldi for 40 quid? Answer, about 5. I know, because that's where I go. Just crazy people. All that money on one meal. Oh, we've run out of money again. What did you have? Well, we went to KFC. There's your answer. But you can't tell them, ow, but we like to go. Well, you've made that choice then, mate. Well, can we have some more money? No, you've spent it. No, you can't have any more money. Spend it wisely. Wisely. Of course, you could be too far the other way, like me, saving everything. I'm terrible. I've wanted this new armchair in John Lewis for about 4 years now. I still won't buy it. In case I don't. But then again, you know, if I have to pay out for something, I will do so. Now, you may remember the saga of the tree in the garden, because I've got a little house as well as my caravan. The luxury waterside media centre, which is near Tattersall in Chapel Hill. As well as that, I do have a little house up there that's rented out to people, and we've had a bit of a problem with a tree in the garden, and the tree is basically overgrown. The garden has started lifting in places, you know, where the roots are coming up. So it's got to be dealt with, unfortunately. And I got a quote to take away the tree, which is about 800 quid. It's a lot of money. The alternative would be to trim the tree at 500 quid. The problem is, if you trim the tree, this is not going to deal with the roots in the garden. You know, I really, and it's a mature sycamore tree. All right, I really do not want to cut down any tree anywhere. But it's the tree of the house, isn't it? You know, I don't have much of a choice there, and I thought, well, if I just trim it, it's going to come back again, and you're not dealing with the problem of the roots in the garden. They're just going to continue, and they're going under the house. They're going to go under the house. So I elected to have the tree removed, and it's been a bit of a saga. This has been going on since October, November time. And the estate agent, the first quote I had was like £1,500. Jesus Christ. So I got the number from my nephew. If I have a problem up north, I just ring up the nephew. Oh, hello, this needs... Oh, right, I know a bloke who can do that. Anything at all. Anything. Gary's the man. Right, Gary's the man. And he gave me this number, so I contacted... Well, I have to go through the estate agency. So the estate agent who rents it out for me, tell them to do it. Because they have to marry everything up. You know, I have no contact with the tenant. So the tenant talks to the estate agent talks to the tree surgeons, and then they match everything up with the dates. Do you see what I mean? So that's all sorted, and today they gave me a date, so I'm really pleased about that. That's happening. I got a text message from the people here. Where is it now? When are they doing it? Sometime in April. I don't know if Gary you're watching today, but you might want to go and have a little look right if you're around there. There we are. On the 11th of April, so that's just in a couple of weeks. And being the 11th of April, that's another that's a different month in my accounts, so I can hold on to the money for another month. Happy days. I said to the bloke, "Do you want a deposit?" He said, "No, that's fine. We'll just send you an invoice when it's done." So I'm pleased about that. But it's not something I want to do. You see, I really do not want to cut down a tree, but it's the tree or the house, isn't it? We'll just come back to that fish and chip story in a moment or two. I can see some texts coming in there, so let's read those out, and it's very kind of you to send them. Hello to Peter Paliwoda, I think Peter Paliwoda, who says, "Hello Chris, hope you're well and best wishes to you all. Disappointed on holiday, yes. He hired a car in Limassol." Oh, you've been there, have you? Yeah, I've been there twice. My niece was at Aquateria, I think it's called, you know, the RAF base with her husband. They were there for 3 years. They've literally, this week, 2 days ago, I think it was, they've come back and they're now on the East Coast, or they'll shortly be on the East Coast of Scotland at Lossiemouth or something like that. Yeah, I've been to Lim. I loved it. Cyprus. Oh, I'd quite happily live there. Yeah, it's a really laid-back way of life there. And the bakeries to die for. All those home-cooked breads and cakes and biscuits there. Oh, blooming lovely. And they just keep coming out. They're constantly cooking all this stuff. It's wonderful. Anyway, Peter says, hired a car in Limassol, bought some fishing tackle, drove 10 miles up the road, the main road to Troodos, to a dam and lake. Arrived there to find it was bone dry. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Peter. He arrived at the lake to find it was bone dry. Actually walked across it. Oh, Peter. Yeah, but did you walk along Limassol? You know where all those really posh boats are? Very, very posh boats. There's like what do you call it, a marina or something? And there's a TJI Fridays there, which I took the family there when I went out the first or second time. You know, then the bill came and I had to sell one of my houses to pay for the burgers. It's lovely having a meal with family, isn't it? You know, when you got, you know, sometimes you can have too many people. If you get everyone together, it can be everyone shouting and screaming at each other. I quite like, you know, with one family a meal there, and one family a meal there, and I'm there with my niece, Ben, her husband, and the 3 children. Was James around then? It was George and Emily. Yeah, James was around there, and James was there as well. We were just sitting there eating chips and burgers. I always like to sit with the children. Then I can get them into trouble. Oh dear, and I think we also... So we went to TGI Fridays once. I think we went to Pizza Hut once there as well. We were the only customers in Pizza Hut, if I remember rightly. Yeah, happy times. Really happy times. And there was another pizza place that we went to. That was, I think... Was that night time or daytime? I can't remember. There was another pizza place there as well. I think Ben bought the dinner this time, which was a little bit further. That was a bit more kind of outside, if you see what I mean, you know. So you're on this thing and there's the sea. Oh, it's fantastic, Cyprus. I love it, Peter. I'd like to go back there for a holiday, but of course not the same now, you know. You know, family not there now. Not the same, really. It's all very well going to these places, but I just like to spend the time with the little people who are not really so little anymore. Well, James is. He's still little, you know. I did have these grand ideas of taking them all to USA for Disney World. And the funny thing is, I was talking to someone in the sports centre the other day. It was a builder. I was just chatting away. It wasn't me. It was my mate, as usual, trying to chat him up. Yeah, and I came in on the conversation. I said, "Oh, you're a builder?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "As a matter of interest, is it very expensive to have a brick wall built?" He said, "Well, how big?" I said, "Well, see all these lockers here." I said, "Those lockers, how much?" He said, "Is it something you want?" I said, "No, I'm just interested, because I would imagine that would be an expensive thing to do, have a brick wall built." And he said, "Well, a basic brick, if it's nothing too special, probably about £1 a brick for materials." He said, "The builders, you're going to be looking at £250 a day." Jesus Christ, £250 a day some of them builders are on. Of course, they are very skilled. You get the right one, they know what you're doing, they build your wall, forget about it. It's all done proper, you know. I'm sure it's something my brother-in-law could do. Probably my nephew as well. They would watch a YouTube video and then they would do it. Not something I would, and it's not something I would want to do, you see. I just don't like doing that stuff. I don't want to do it. Don't want to. £250 a day. Wow. I wish I got that during karaoke nights. £250 a day they get. It's not bad, is it, eh? Anyway, I was talking to him, and for some reason he got onto the subject of Disney, and he was saying, he said, "Well, we've been to Disney." I said, "You mean a Euro Disney or the other one?" He said, "We've been to Euro Disney with a family, because he's got children now, 2 children. I don't know what he's got, girl and boy, just 2 children, right? They're interchangeable now, though, children. In this modern world, we don't do genders, do we?" That old one, dear. Yeah, no, don't do genders. So it's not boys and girls, just 2 children. We're not allowed to say boy and girl. Bleeding idiots, aren't they? The lunatics have taken over here. The far left are all like that, you know that. Anyway, we're not going to do that one. So they've been to Euro Disney, but haven't been to the American one. But although he's been to the American one with his missus, probably his girlfriend. Oh, I don't know if it's a missus, actually. Might be just his girlfriend. Whatever. Been with his girlfriend before the 2 children come along. I said, "Are you going to take the children?" And he said, "Well, we wanted to until we found out the price." I said, "Go on." He said, "Family of 4 is going to cost us about 10 grand. 10 grand! So I can't see me going there with Tracy and the family. 10 grand! That's got expensive, Disney. I seem to remember watching a YouTube video recently, actually, and there's a lot of people on YouTube saying Disney are no longer aiming their theme parks at the normal person like you and me. What they want is the people with the money, you see. And if you've been to any of the Disney places, you go and buy a pizza or a burger, cost you an arm and a bleeding leg in there. It's very expensive there. I mean, once you're in there, don't get me wrong, it's all fantastic. It is. And if you ever get the chance to take children to a Disney, please do. They will have a fantastic time. I won't recommend the Euro Disney one too much, because if you can possibly do it, go take them to Florida. It's fantastic. Euro Disney is all right. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's like a small place in comparison with the one at Florida. If you ever get the chance to take children there, please do. Ray Reynolds, Dave Lynn interviewed. Dave Lynn is a drag queen, isn't they? Interviewed Anna Karen at the Black Cap. I went in the dressing room after for a chat. That must have been some years ago, Ray, was it? Was it? Did you see Ray Reynolds last night, by the way, on the on our karaoke video stream? I do 3 of those a week now. There's 2 on Friday and Saturday, and one on Tuesday. Okay, and you can find those. Just type into the YouTube search bar Karaoke London, and you should find the Karaoke London channel there. Just subscribe to that and you'll be able to watch our karaoke streams live on the nights or recorded later on. Ray Reynolds was on last night, went away with your ukulele there. Going back to Paul, there's a ZX Spectrum 81 kit that he owns, still in a box, untouched. He said there's one on eBay now for £750. I mean, you can't even do anything with it. Oh, you wouldn't mind. I think they got... Is it something like 1K of memory? I had a Spectrum. Again, I should have held on to that. I don't know what I did. I think I took it apart in the end. Not that there was anything to see. Mad, isn't it? Thank you. Gary Ross says, I remember you said you went to a chippy with your mate. They charge you £25 for 2 fish and chips. That's right, it was delivered. That was Churchill's. It was delivered, you see. And then the next time we went there and it was like 18 quid. I said, well, how much are we being charged here to have the damn thing delivered? Now, to be fair, of course, you don't think people are going around on bikes for nothing to deliver your crap, do you? You know what I mean? They've all got to be paid to do their jobs. The question is, are you prepared to pay to have someone bring you your fish and chips, McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, shopping from Sainsbury's? Because I'm not. I'm not prepared to pay. I mean, if it was fish and chips, I wouldn't get the car out. My mate gets the car out because he hasn't got a bike, right? Or I might. Could I walk to the chip shop? I could at a stretch. I could easily walk to the chip shop about 45 minutes. You'd obviously walk there and have it there, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to walk back for blooming somebody stone cold by the time you get back, wouldn't it? Eh? But he'd get the car out. I'm not prepared to pay £7 to have something delivered to me. I'm amazed at how many people have stuff delivered to them all the time because they can't be asked to go out too bone idle to get off the fat arses in front of their PlayStation 2s and Nintendos. Too bone idle. Some people are just too busy. I get that. But a lot of people are too bone idle and fat to get up out of their chair and go to the shop to go and collect their stuff. Terrible. On the other hand, they are keeping people in jobs. Cyclists, you know, these delivery people. Deliveroo. Remember that lad who does a YouTube channel called London Eats? Every night he's out. 12 o'clock at night. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. 5 in the morning. Gets a little message on his mobile phone, Uber Eats or the other one, Deliveroo, whatever. Please, okay, so he goes to McDonald's and collects a Big Mac and fries and delivers it up the road and gets a couple of quid for it. They work very, very hard, those boys and girls. Over here, I've seen older people doing this as well in their cars. I mean, how they make it pay driving around, I do not know, because these kids don't seem to be on much more than £10, £15 an hour. So if you're doing it in a car, if you were doing it properly, you'd have to have this put on your insurance, and of course you'd be paying a fortune in insurance, I'm sure, to do something like that. I would imagine most people don't bother illegally, don't bother putting down the fact that they're delivering food from A to B or shopping or something like that. I would imagine they don't put it down on their insurance, because if they have an accident and they're caught out, no insurance money. That's the only thing. I don't know how they manage to make money if they're using their own car. A cyclist, yes, because once you bought the bike, that's it, isn't it? You know, motorbike, you're starting to get into petrol and insurance now, aren't you? You know? My mate's ex, he works for Amazon. He does a couple of little Amazon things. I think he gets about 30 quid every time he does one of those. What they do is they go to a centre, right, and they pick up like a bag of stuff, shove it all in the car, and then they deliver it, and when it's done, it's done. I said to him, because it was something I considered doing once, that Amazon. I quite like, you know, going out driving around and delivering stuff to people. Be all right round here. But then you get the towns, you see. Reading. And there they are, you know, the parking attendants, waiting for you to make a mistake or take a little risk. And he says it's a problem in Reading. He said you've got to find somewhere to park, and then you might have to go up the stairs, and because the lift's out of order to the 10th floor. I mean, he's fit enough to be able to do that. I could probably do that, go up the stairs. But if you've taken a risk, you've come back down then, and there's that ticket on your car. Bye-bye to 2 days' wages, you know. These people are not earning a lot of money. You remember that next time the Amazon bloke delivers something to you, or the lady with a lovely lady who delivers the stuff around here. I often see her. She's nice. She's got to be about 40, 45. They're just trying to make a living. Then some bastard parking attendant comes and put a ticket on their car. They're only on 30 quid a day, love. You've just taken 2 or 3 days' wages out of them for that ticket. You nasty piece of scum. Oh, I'm just doing my job. That's what they're saying at those parking attendants. And that's what my mate says. He said it's really stressful when you're in a town and you're trying to find somewhere to park to deliver that parcel. You know, years ago when I worked for British Telecom, we could park anywhere. Us and the post office wasn't a problem. Double yellow lines. So I used to park in Richmond Town Centre, literally outside WH Smith's, or what was the supermarket they had there? I can't remember. They had They had a department store there as well in Richmond Town Centre. And if I had a job, sort of near wherever that was, say near WH Smith, I used to literally stop the car on the double yellow lines outside WH Smith and go and do the job. No one ever put a ticket on there. We were allowed to do that. I don't think you can do that now. Not with these private parking attendants. Oh, how much commission am I getting? You know. Vera says, Storm Eunice could have taken the tree down for you free of charge. Yeah, on the blooming house. That's the only thing, Vera. On the house, probably. I'll come back to that fish and chip story in a minute. Let's just pop into the email. Paul Adamson says, did you see how the hostage thing in Apple Store ended? I don't know about a hostage thing. I don't know anything about that. Oh, there's a little video there. I'll have to watch that later. I can't see a video while I'm doing the show, actually. Thank you, Paul. I don't know anything about that. Hostage in the Apple. Well, the stuff's so expensive, isn't it? You imagine how much money you'd have if you nicked the contents of an Apple Store. Eh? I'm considering the Apple SE phone when it comes out because I'd like 5G. I've got 5G on that. That's an iPhone 8. That's a few years old now. And I have to charge it about 2.5 times a day now. That thing on there. In the chat box, thanks so much. John Parrish has sent through a tip. Thank you very much, John. John sent a tip tonight. Thank you very much, John. Much appreciated to you. Thank you, John. Anyone else? Oh, hang on. What was that? Something just buzzed on my phone. Oh, it's BBC News. Is it BBC News coming through there? All the news is coming through here. I have that there just in case we get a news flash. You know, someone's dead or something like that. Hopefully not me on this show. Thank you very much. If you're new to the show, a warm welcome along to you. My name's Chris, and we're here every Wednesday night live between sort of 8... From 8 o'clock, we usually finish around about 10, sometimes a bit earlier, sometimes a bit later, just how it goes. All right, Peter Palawoda says, dear Chris, you had Action Man yet? No, I didn't. I never had those stupid dolls. Dolls for girls and dolls for boys. Please don't make me tell you what I used to do to my sister's dolls. Please don't let me tell you. I used to push the eyes in. Shit. Mum, Chris has pushed the eyes in on my dolls. Did any of you boys do that to your sister's dolls? Because the eyes used to be, you know, you could push them in. Thank you, Peter. Jason says breeze blocks are £1.25 each. I mean, you'd need quite a few of those, wouldn't you, if you're doing a building? Just going back to some of the other stories we were doing here as well. Jason, anyone know any good building companies? Just had one quote to build my garage. 20 grand. Gosh. It's a lot of money. Can't you just put up a few bits of wood and some plastic or something like that? Have a word with my nephew. He might be able to help you there. Hello to Billy B. Hello, Billy. I go to Woodall Spa a lot. Lovely round there. Oh, it certainly is, Billy. It's a lovely place, Woodall Spa. My caravan's not far from Woodall. My sister lives in Woodall Spa. My caravan's in a place called Chapel Hill, which is, again, quite a nice little place. Very quiet there. Very, very quiet there. In fact, there's been a little cottage up for sale there for some time. It's not got a particularly nice garden, but it's not expensive. Really not expensive for what it is. And actually, there's a river there. You know, there's a Tattershall Bridge. So the river that bridge crosses the river. The river Witham. The River Witham. Witham. And right on the, as you come off Tattershall Bridge, you do like a sharp right, left, and then back on yourself, and you get up to the river and then go along it like that. And on the corner there is a house for sale, and it's an old school. Oh, it's massive house. I'd love that house. But, you know, person on his own, bit of a waste of space and time in it, you know. If you had a family, it'd be the perfect house, and it backs onto the fields. Massive garden and all that. You know, for what it is, I think it was on for 325 grand, something like that, which is probably what this ex-council house is worth here in Bracknell, in Berkshire, you know. Peter Paliwoda, here we go. I think we're going to go back onto the chips now at last. Let's just scry. Lee Last, you ever had them from Churchill's, Chris? Nice fare, but crikey, you need a bank loan for medium cod chips and curry sauce. That's what I was just saying, Lee. That's where we go, me and my mate. Churchill's. I must say, it's very well presented in there. There's a lad in there. He's a tall lad. He's about 20, and he's got a really cheeky smile on him that he gives you. I think he might know that he's serving an old puff. I think that's the case, Lee. But you're quite right. It is quite expensive in there. Lee says, shame, last time I ordered some delivery, they took 2 hours. And the driver looked like Blakey from On the Buses. We went back to run the buses there. Yeah. Peter Paliwoda remembers rock and chips, 1 shilling and 6pence. George says he uses microwave chips. You just stick them in the microwave. Oh no, George, they're bleeding horrible, mate. They're not chips. I don't know how they got the audacity to call them chips. You know, even those oven chips, they're nice oven chips, and I like crinkled. What's the best ones? McCain oven chips, delicious. But they are not the chips, the same chips you get from the chip shop, whether it be Churchill's here in Bracknell or Skegness, where we go to the trawlers catch in Skegness. Or there's even quite a nice one in Horncastle called Mermaid Fisheries. That's a fish and chip shop. I quite like going there, but they're a little bit obsessed with masks in there. Last time I went there, it was the last week in January. Was the last time I was up at the Luxury Waterside Media Centre caravan, and I went there. My God, I got out the car and I thought, oh, it'd be nice and warm in there. They got all the windows and doors open in there. It's a big screen up there. A little bit obsessed with the masks in there. I know it's important, but I don't think we need to wear them at all from tomorrow, do we? Right, let's get on to this subject. Good evening to Adrian Richardson this evening. Evening to you, Adrian. Welcome along to our little live stream. Live here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, gang. Fish and chips, how much? They reckon the average price is now a tenner. Now, I remember when I used to go to Scouts in Roehampton, 1978, we used to, after Scouts, me and my friend Philip and Steve Short and was Alan there? No, I don't think he was. It was me, Philip, Steve. I think that was it. There might have been someone else, Mark maybe, and Tim, and we used to go to the chip shop, Nick's Fish and Chip Shop, which was up Roehampton High Street, and we used to get 20 pence. 20 pence for a bag of chips. We always used to go there afterwards. Once I found a fried caterpillar in there. I just chucked it away, it didn't bother me. We used to go up there. 20 pence it was. According to the Daily Mail online, the average price of fish and chips could increase to more than £10 due to the soaring cost of cod and mushy peas, according to industry chiefs. I don't think we're far off that now. When I go and have a halloumi, I love, you know, Churchill's, decent sized portions. You do not need to buy the large chips. You seriously don't. We were up there, funnily enough, last week, and we sat in this time because the restaurant, they're all reopening now, aren't they? The restaurant part was open, and I got a plate of chips and a halloumi burger. And the halloumi is, I mean, it's like that. It's thick. So can't complain about the portion sizes. And I think it cost us about 18 quid. We had a couple of cups of tea with that as well. He usually has a fizzy drink. I don't do fizzy drinks. I just drink tea. So £18, and I must admit, parting with £18 for just fish and chips, I do feel that. I do kind of feel that. I'd be happy £12, 12, maybe 13 at a push. But we're now getting on to £20, and according to the Daily Mail, the average price of them is going to increase to more than £10. The National Federation of Fish Fryers has warned that cod supplies have become 75% more expensive than in October. I wonder why that is. The cost of buying mushy peas has also doubled, the industry body said, while shops are suffering from soaring packaging prices and energy bills. The Mirror reported, well, here's your ideal opportunity to get rid of all this blasted plastic packaging, innit? On top of this, there will also be a return of 20% VAT from April. We really seem to be clobbered for money at the moment, don't we? Eh? Mortgages up, electricity and gas, they're the worst ones. Petrol, well, it's 150 a litre around here now. I saw a story that we could get to 175 a litre. How many of you ever thought you'd be putting in close on 60, 70, 80, 90 pounds into your tank? I bet you never thought that would happen, did you? £100 a tank is on its way. Andrew Cook, the president of the National Federation of Fish Fryers, said the cost of cod in his shop, Skippers in Lancashire, has soared from £8 a kilogram to nearly £14. The average cost for a portion of fish and chips currently stands at £6.50 to £9, while Mr. Crook says he currently charges £7.50 for fish and chips. £7.50, yeah, I'd be all right. That's at the upper end of, yeah, I feel okay paying that. Now, if it's only here that I have halloumi burger and chips. Usually, Trawler's Catch, I like baked beans on chips. And it was, I think it was my sister that advised me, when you order, now listen to this, I always recommend this to you boys and girls, you go to Skegness, seek out the Trawler's Catch, okay? It's along the seafront. And it's very close to this clock, which is on like a little roundabout. There's two roundabouts at either end, okay? It's the one... I say going that means nothing to you at all, does it? Going there. Well, there's only one clock. There's a clock on this roundabout, which, if I remember rightly, is leaning slightly. And very close to that is the Trawler's Catch. If you have a look at the buildings, at the top of the Trawler Catch is like pirate type things. That's the Trawler's Catch. Go in there, right? Go in there and have something to eat in there. You won't be disappointed with the portion sizes or the price come to that. And I usually have baked beans and chips. It was my sister that told me, when you have baked beans and chips, I like the beans on the chips, but don't order it like that because you won't get so many chips. So you order baked beans and chips and you have the baked beans in a little polystyrene pot thing. Very bad for the environment. And then you take your packet of chips and your beans, you go to a table, and then you pour them over them, and you've got extra chips. I would also advise you, if you ever go there, please take your own knives and forks, because they give you these blasted plastic things, and especially if your my auntie Brenda, we took her once, well, she got for about 5 forks. Every time she put it in, the blooming prong broke off. Absolutely useless. Plastic cutlery. Whoever invented that? Once we were there and they had this wooden cutlery, which was really good. It didn't break. We only used 1 fork and 1 knife each. But then they went back to the plastic ones, and we asked why, and it was a cost thing. The wooden ones were much more expensive, so they didn't use those anymore. Highly recommend you take your own knives and forks when you go to any of these fish and chips places, because you just get these damn plastic things. The story in the Daily Mail, it says rising costs are really putting us under pressure, and we will push some out of business. David Miller, who runs a chippy in North Yorkshire, said the dish had been underpriced for too long, adding that shops have a tsunami of costs coming. Well, that and the blooming business rates that they all have to pay. £10, eh? Gosh. £10 for fish and chips now. And that's not always another little price thing coming there. Adrian says Harwich to fish and chips. Horridge to fish and chips. What's that mean? What? You've written, Adrian, Horridge to fish and chips, but now it will cost about £55 to £65 for cotton chips. What are you going on about, dear? I don't get that. Adrian also says, well, I wouldn't mind paying money to go fish and chips. Most of my rubbish these days, they use palm. Oh, he's going on about this blasted palm oil he goes on about all the time, which doesn't cook the chips and leaves a nasty fill in your mouth. You must mean taste, I think. Yeah, I must say, whenever I've had fish and chips from a fish and chip shop, it's tasted, except the Chinese. I did Chinese once. Chinese fish and chips, you know, because the Chinese do fish and chips. They don't cook. They cook it in something else. It tastes vile, absolutely vile. And I won't buy it from a Chinese place anymore. Fish and chips. I don't know what they cook it in, but it's absolutely vile. The taste. Oh, Harrods fish and chips, £55. What are cotton chips? What the hell are they? Cotton chips. Let me type this in. Cotton chips. Is this something? Cotton chips. 1 minute. Cotton chips. Fashion interiors. I don't know what cotton chips are. No. Vera says, how do you know that you're getting cod? It could be pollock. No need to be rude, darling. Now she's being rude. Pollock. Yeah, pollocks to you as well, love. Thank you, Vera. And she says fish and chips, depending on the area. Woodford in Essex, you could be looking at £7. I think it's expensive, isn't it? £7, yeah. Thank you, Adrian. I beg your pardon, cod and chips. So Harrods fish and chips now cost about £55 to £65. Does it really? Hang on, let's have a look. Harrods fish and chips price. See if I can find it. The actual price. Here we are. Kerridge fish and chips at Harrods. From the Fork. What's this? The Fork. Kerridge fish and chips at Harrods. Oh, £35 there it says. Oh, it don't look very... Oh, well, that does not look very exciting. Shall I show you? Oh, look at how many chips. There's about 4 chips there. Sod that, mate. Oh, no. Christ, why would anyone want to go there? Here, 35 quid for this shit. For this stuff. Sorry, I swore then. Here we are. Hang on. Where is it? 35 quid. I don't think so. Look at the chips. It's about 1, 2... Hang on. 1, 2, 3. There's 6, 7. 7 chips there. 35 quid? I don't think so, mate. I bet they're not very busy. Not like that in the trawlers catch. They pile it on, dear. The chips are falling off the plate. There's so many of them. There is no point in having fish and going out for a meal unless they fill the blooming plate up. That's what I say. Pop it into the chat box, gang. Be warned. Hello to Kevin. Evening to Kevin. Welcome along, Kevin. Could listen to you all night. I could stay here all night, Kevin. Send us a couple of grand and I'll sit here all night for you if you want me to, mate. All right, Kevin. Welcome to the show. Well, you're new. Welcome along, sir. All right. Have a little subscribe. May I ask where you are? Are you in the UK or somewhere else, maybe? Not the exact address. Don't give us your exact address on here, my love. Oh, don't do that for Christ's sake. They'll all turn up with the begging bowls. Looking for cheap fish and chips probably, because we can't find any at the moment. Cotton and chips, Gary Ross says. Yeah, it's me. No, he's a little bit of a problem with the typing there. Rachel says, I feel sorry for today's children. God knows what world's going to be like for them in the future. Rachel, I look at my great nieces and nephews and I think that, what are you going to have to deal with? They've got to get all the plastic out of the ocean for a start. Have you seen some of this plastic in the ocean? It's crazy. Crazy. Dan says that small chips was 10... was two... I don't know what that is. And Paul's going on about petrol in Holland was 1.77 a litre. And we think we've got it bad here at 1.50 a litre. That's the dearest it's been, isn't it? I seem to remember some years ago, way before the pandemic, the petrol did get to 1.50 a litre. I remember that. So we're back. It's taken several years to get back there, but we're back up there now. Do you remember during the pandemic? It nearly went below £1 a litre, didn't it? I should have bought some of those blooming big tin cans and put them in there, shouldn't I? Eh? Yes. Jason Hughes says I could listen to Chris until I fall asleep. What, you mean you haven't yet? I'm surprised. Right, okay, we're down the end of there. Michael wants to know if I'm working on Tuesday night, what pub? Yes, I've got new karaoke. I've got poster on here. Hang on a minute. Where's my poster? There we go. Karaoke poster. There you go. That's where I am on Tuesdays. William Morris Bar, Forest Road. Okay, 8 till 11, that one. E17. I don't know how close that is for you, Michael. All right, DJ Chris came this week. Maureen came a couple of weeks ago as well. A little bit too far for Maureen, though. All right. Karaoke every Tuesday at the William Morris Bar. There we are. There you go. And that's good. Adrian says that's why you'd have to spend £55 to £65 at Arrows, because you'd need 2 portions. Well, you certainly would. You certainly would. I have to say, up at Churchill's and at the Trawler's Catch, when they do order fish and chips, it's a big bit of fish. None of these tiny little things like that, Lovely. But that's not all that's going up, because the Metro and some of the other newspapers are reporting the price of a pint in London could go up to £10.50, £10.50 by the end of the decade if inflation keeps spiralling at its current rate. And let me tell you, drinkers know the price of their beer, and they know when it goes up even a penny. They do. And they usually come up and Ray Reynolds does. He knows the moment that the price of that booze goes up, he's do you know that's gone up 2 pence since last week? They know. Drinkers know when their booze goes up. £10.50 for a pint. I remember when pints went to £1. I was drinking lager at the time, Carlsberg. I used to drink. I don't drink at all anymore unless it's like a little glass of champagne in or prosecco somewhere. Certainly not at work. I never ever drink at work. Never. I won't. Oh, go and have one. No, won't do it. Not if I'm driving. I won't touch a drop. But if I go to an afternoon tea, that's usually a glass or 2 of champagne because my mate will be driving. Or perhaps a little glass of prosecco at an event or something like that. Might have a little. Adam the plumber, he's getting married this year. In when's that? August, I think it is. Is it August? June, July, August? Yeah, August. He's getting married in August, and I might have a little glass of. I hope it's got champagne there. Don't embarrass yourself by offering me a bottle of beer. Oh, good God, no, dear. Anyway, back to this. Drinks costs, it says in the Metro, are expected to soar in the coming years, adding £4.50 to the cost of what is already the UK's most expensive pint. I think Dan Woodhouse would know this. How much is a bottle of that old speckled hen in Central Station? Is that a £5? I think £5 is a pretty normal Is that a normal price to pay now for a pint of lager or bitter or beer, whatever? It's a lot, isn't it? In London, it says it would mean that the £6 most people are oh, it's £6 according to the Metro. It says in London, most people are paying £6 now for a pint. It would rise to £7 by 2025 and £9 in 2030. Gosh. You know. I personally think that supermarkets should never have been allowed to sell cheap booze, because it's just killed the pubs. Less people go into pubs, then they have to put the price up because less people are in there, and then more less people go in. It's just like a vicious circle until eventually you lose the pub. And I think it's a great shame when you lose pubs. I don't go in. I would like to go in a couple of pubs and just sit there. I like to do people watching, and I keep telling my mate, there's a couple of pubs around here I'd like to go in and just people watch. Just sit there with my mate. I'd have a glass of zero Coke or something like that. He'd probably have roughly the same as me. But just sit there and people watch. When you look at all these old films in England and that, and you see pubs like in the 17th, 18th century, and people in there just in there talking. Very different then to it is now, but nevertheless the same sort of social thing, and people aren't doing it, you know. It's funny, you know, sometimes, you know, when you're out, and it happened again today, you know, I was walking along I was doing a litter collecting today, and I was walking along, and this young girl, I suppose about 16, 17, she was walking that way. And I looked up, you know, just to nod at her, and she just completely looked the other way, didn't want to look. And you find this with young people, they just can't interact socially outside of a bloody computer or a phone screen. They don't know how to do it. It's worrying, isn't it? Worrying. And of course you do talk to people completely differently to their faces than through a computer screen. You've only got to look at Twitter and see some of the arseholes on there. I'm not on there. Kevin. Kevin's new to the channel, so welcome along, Kevin. He's in Thurrock in Essex. Oh, yes. I used to DJ in Essex long time ago, Kevin. Actually, I've got the old poster here. Do you want to see it? Yeah, look. Here it is. Colours in Romford. Right. This is how I looked then when I was DJing there. Look at me there. Look. Young and gorgeous. Still young and gorgeous. Oh, here we are. It was Wednesdays. There was a place called Colours in Romford, which was opposite McDonald's. I wonder where are all these people now? You know, that's the doorman there. This is 20 years, maybe more. 20 years ago, doorman there. They were two lovely blokes there. Lovely people. You just wonder what happens to all these people. That's the whole poster there. See, Colours in Romford. And also in Southend. I worked in Southend. A place called... Well, the night was called Bliss. And it was a nightclub which was opposite a cinema which had closed down. Again, 20 years plus maybe. It's a long time ago. That was in Southend, yeah. When I was club DJ. Yeah. Which was great doing that, actually. Anyway, Kevin's in Thurrock in Essex. He's got 3 fish and chip shops near me. Not one of them is any good. Oh, that's a shame. Are they doing chopped up chips? Or do they open a packet? You see, that always turns me off. They're like the kebab shop chips, you know, when you go in a kebab shop, and they're okay for what they are. But as soon as I get out a big plastic bag and cut it, and then I thought, oh, no, that's not a proper chips, is it? It's not proper chips. Kevin says, I have to go all the way to Hornchurch to get a piece of decent fish and chips. That's a shame there. That's a shame. Hello to Gareth Loxton. Hello, Gareth. Welcome to the show. Hello to you. Peter Pallywoder used to go to Walthamstow Dogs. Chris, is that still... I bet that's not there now, is it? Walthamstow Dogs. And then Charlie Chan's nightclub afterwards. I've heard of that, Peter. Charlie Chan's nightclub. I've certainly heard of that. Yeah. Anyone want to talk to Kevin on there while you're there? Feel free. Let's just scroll up there. Hello to Liam. Welcome to the show, Liam. Welcome. Do. Thank you, Jason, for saying your kind words there. Paul Adamson says, I recently learned that petrol can go off. It keeps for about 6 months. Is that right? I didn't know that. I suppose it'd be the chemical form, the chemicals change over a period of time. That's like drugs, isn't it? When I say drugs, I mean prescription drugs. You know, they've got a date on them. I suppose over time the chemical compounds change and become either not as effective or much stronger, would they? I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I wouldn't know that. I'm just guessing there. Okay. Gareth says, any more news on your EV? Thank you, Rachel. Any more news on your EV car? Not happening, Gareth. Yeah, not happening. Not happening. And I'll tell you why. I've explained it in depth a couple of times on it. Just quickly for you, I don't think the infrastructure isn't up to it yet. Not yet. There seems to be plenty of chargers, but they're slow. There are not enough fast and ultra fast chargers. I need to be able to go to a petrol station. I need to know the damn thing's going to work. Right? There's a lot of them. You get there and they're not working. And then you have to ring them up and they say, oh, I just reset it for you. Well, this all takes time. It's all very well, oh, well, all you've got to do is ring them up. Yeah, I don't want to ring someone up. I want to turn up there and it's working. End of. Done. So there's that. You've also got to subscribe to all these different providers of various electric charging stations, all different suppliers, and there's not many very fast chargers. I do not want to be sitting at a petrol station, ideally 5 minutes, or I'll do 10, maybe 15, 20 at a real push. Any more than that, no. I don't want to be sitting at a blooming petrol station for 20 minutes. The other thing is I can't charge up at home. And there's another thing people aren't aware of, in that, you know, if you charge at a petrol station, you will pay a hell of a lot more than double the price than what you would be paying at home to charge it. And I can't charge at home. So that's why I've ordered another hybrid, which hopefully will be with me around September. Oh, there's no rush. There's nothing wrong with my car. It's just come to the end of its 3 years, you see, which means I'm going to have to do an MOT. When's the last time I did one of those? How much are they now? Are they still 20? I bet they're not 20 quid anymore, are they? The last time I did an MOT, it was about 20 quid. How much are they now? Paul Adamson's got a Cougar plug-in hybrid. Spends a lot of time running on electric. I'm surprised. Good. Can you charge at home, Paul? I think the plug-ins, don't they charge at 7.5k, which is slow? You know, some of them will accept a charge of 150k watts, which is great until you realise there aren't many 150k watt things there. Paul says, I tried to charging up at IKEA and the charger wouldn't work. You see, well, then you're stuffed, aren't you? If you didn't have that petrol engine, what would you have done? John Paris, petrol going up to 150. Thank you, Russia. I don't think it's just Russia, to be honest, John. The other thing is, when they're talking about these gas prices and that, John, right? Oh, it's because of the Russians. Look up where we get our gas from. Guess where we don't get it from? Russia. Didn't know that, did you? Oh, it's because Russia are doing something with the gas. We get hardly any gas from Russia. Half of our gas, because I looked this up today, comes from the North Sea. I think a third of it comes from Norway. And you have to ask yourself, well, why does the damn price keep going up then? It's world markets, you see. Do you remember Margaret Thatcher telling that all those years ago? We've got all this North Sea gas. We've got cheap energy. Then why are we paying an arm and a leg for it then? It's all to do with market things, isn't it? I personally don't think things like water, electricity, gas, trains, public transport, I don't think any of those things should be run for profit. I really don't. That's not very conservative, is it? But that's how I feel about that sort of thing. It should be there for the people, you know. How on earth are these people going to continue to afford these bills? I do not know. I'm really careful with stuff. The car only comes out when it absolutely has to. I do most of my shopping either by foot or on by. This is another reason I thought twice about going up to Lincolnshire. You see, you need a car there. There's hardly any buses. If you're out in the sticks somewhere, like where my caravan is, you can't get around. You can't do shopping without a car. I thought, I'm going to be some. Every time I leave the house and want to go somewhere, I can't walk. You can go for walks, but you can't walk anywhere. Couldn't walk to the swimming pool or the church or the shops or the town. You couldn't walk there. Not and come back within 2 hours. Not even 2 hours. The nearest shop to walk to would be in Tattershaw. From the caravan to there, 2.5 hours there and 2.5 hours back. No. No, maybe 1 3/4 hours there and 1 3/4 hours back, I reckon. It's impossible. Here, where I am here, I can walk everywhere. Everywhere. Is it £45 for an MOT? Thank you, John. And Jason, 40 to £55. Oh, it's gone up a bit, hasn't it? Gareth, totally agree with you there, Chris. I can't charge my EV near my house. So what are you paying per kilowatt, or does it change depending on when you charge? I would imagine 45 pence per kilowatt hour, which is, of course, still much cheaper than petrol. But if you were doing it at home, you'd be charged probably 20p a kilowatt hour, wouldn't you? Or I think Octopus Energy. See, I know so much about this because I really went into it. Octopus Energy, if you sign up, they have a car charging rate, don't they? Which I think between 4 and 8 in the morning is something like 7 pence a kilowatt hour. What are you paying a kilowatt hour there? We've got into this subject. I don't know where we got into this now. Paul can charge at home overnight 6 hours. Yeah, you've got to be charging at 7.5 kilowatts probably, Paul. Besides, at home you won't have that fast. You can't have a 150 kilowatt charger at home anyway. I don't think you can have that. I think most of those are about 7 kilowatt hours at home. So yeah, 6 hours sounds about right. But those plug-in hybrids, the same with the Toyota ones, they're slow chargers. Because they bought a RAV4 out, hybrid petrol plug-in. And I was looking at that, but number one, it was horrendously expensive. Wrong price point for a Toyota customer. And this bloke's trying to sell it to me. I said, you must be joking. I said, you have not priced that at Toyota customers. You know. And then he rang me weeks later and he said they've dropped the price. Surprise, surprise, haven't been able to bleed and sell them, have they? That's why. He said they've dropped the price. And then I considered it again. But then when I looked into it, I realised you could only charge it at 7.5 kilowatts. Well, where am I going to charge that? I can't do it here. Plugging it at a petrol station, I'll be sitting there for 2 hours. No, I don't think so. Don't think so. Peter, there's 600 years worth of coal under Britain. If we could scrub the CO2 out, I think they can, Peter, can't they? Can't they do that somehow with things? I don't know what they do. I'm not an engineer. Built in Scotland. Hello, Mick. Evening, Mick. Evening, Chris and Chatbox. Land £50 on an MOT. £1.68 diesel. Where he is. I don't know if any of you have driven on the motorways near London. The M4 and the M1 BP stations, last time I looked, 167 a litre. Petrol. Petrol. Thieving bastards they are, aren't they, on those motorways? Oh, it's because we have to pay a lot. Load of old crap. Don't believe you. Gareth. 50. Yeah, wow. 55 pence a kilowatt hour he's paying, Gareth. Because it's a charging point, Morrison's. I won't be renewing to another EV, sadly. It depends, Gareth, because it's such a mess at the moment. All these different charging companies charging different rates. Let's see. BP seem to be on the ball here. They seem to be rolling out fast chargers. Hang on a BP electric car charging cost. I don't know what BP. I thought BP were charging about 45 pence, weren't they? Hang on a minute. What's this? Oh, it's £7.85 a month. Is that how that works? How does that work? Hang on a minute. Just a minute. BP. Oh, it don't say the cost. Cost of charging. No, charging on the go. Charging on the go. Come on, what you charging your thieving gits? Access 150 charging at best tariffs. Okay, where's free charging? Oh, BP as a subscription member, which costs you £7.85 a month, including VAT. You get free charging at selected BP Plus points. Well, you need to look into that a bit more. I thought it was about 40 to 45 pence. You're charging 55 pence. You can't win, can you? So we all want to go over to the electric cars to save money. And then you're telling us it's 55 pence a kilowatt. Oh, my God, look at that, love. Look, turkey neck I've got now, and I didn't have that when I started doing these shows 12 or 13 years ago. Kevin remembers the nightclub in Romford, Walthamstow. Dog's Track has gone now. I thought they might have. A lot of them have gone now, though, dog racing things. They built houses on there, left the front of the stadium and built houses in the middle of the track. The track is now a road. It's just how it is. Paul Adamson, Pod Point at Tesco's free, a lot up here in Liverpool. Yes, Paul, but again, they're slow chargers there. You'd be all right. I mean, you could probably plug in there in your PHEV. You could probably plug in there for 2 hours and get a decent charge with your small battery. But, you know, a fully electric car is going to have to sit there for hours in that free charging. Tesco's also do fast chargers, but for those you have to pay, you see. Once we all get electric cars, all houses along the street will go dim. Overload. Oh, well, that's the other thing, you see. The infrastructure isn't there. Gary Ross. What's that? There's another D test there. Thank you. And Paul says that's why people went for Teslas. They give free charging. Yes, at the moment. At the moment, don't they? At the moment. Bring back the Yugo. Oh, I remember the Yugo. I did have a Lada. I had two. I had one. The worst car I ever had was. Why are we talking about cars here? Oh dear. The worst car I ever had was an FSO Polonaise. Anyone know those? Oh, it was awful. It did nothing. It was always choking in the traffic and it would die in the traffic. Back and forward to the repair place. And I also had a Lada, Russian Lada, which was, I loved that Lada. That was a great car. That was a great car. Oh my God, it's 10:10. How on earth did that happen? Gosh. Evening to Ollie K. Evening, Ollie. Just talked about cars night. We've been chatting about cars night, Ollie. Adrian used to go to Charlie Chan's nightclub. Did you? Did you really? Vera, when can we see the video of your studio? Good job you reminded me, because I was about to go then. I will show you this. Okay, moving on from the cars, and then we must go. It's 10:10. I want something to eat. I've got banana roll tonight. I should have banana roll or vegetable soup. No, I'm going to have banana roll. I want a banana roll. Now, I've already had 2 bags of crisps. You will see these in a moment in the film. Can I just show you this? Right. My sister sent me these for my birthday. Look, already half gone. I've had 2 of these tonight, just before I came on stream tonight. And Vera bought me that. The mind bog off toilet stuff. See that there? Maureen bought me that. It's a bit difficult to see that, isn't it? Another little orchid from Maureen. It's mauve. Can you see the colours? Beautiful colours. All right. And actually, if you can see on this camera, can you see that? Yes, you can. See those white? See that white there? You know, I've been telling you about an orchid. that came into flower, and the flowers are still there. That's it there. That was a present from Maureen. It's just starting to lose its flowers now. That's been in flower for bleeding weeks, that has. Absolute weeks, that has. Right, let me show you this video then. You often hear me talking about how messy this room is. So I did this for you earlier, okay? So that's the clock you can see behind me there. So I recorded this just after 7 o'clock, just about an hour before we came on. The backdrop there, pretty in it. Right, here we go then. This is what the studio really looks like around me. You can't see any of this, look. Absolute mess. That's one of my studio lights. They're both on at the moment. Look at the floor. It's terrible, isn't it? Filled up waste paper basket. All the stuff there. Picture of my mum there. Can you see her there? It's actually mum and dad. You can't see. Dad's hiding behind a Dalek. Cup of tea there. Underneath, you can see all the wires. Just stuff everywhere. Terrible, isn't it, eh? I don't know. That's the router. There's all the stuff. That's we'd come on air at this point, you see. Come on stream at this point. Right. That's the sound mixer. All the sound comes through that. A few notes in front of me there. Some shelves there. You see all this stuff at the top there. Never gets moved. Never comes off, that stuff at the top there. And then back to the clock. Do you want to have a look at the wires underneath? Here we go. It's a little bit dark under there, I know, but you can just about... Can you see that or not? I don't think you can. That's all wiring under there and plugs and stuff like that. Eh? And back to the clock at the other end, all right? So there you are. Now you know how messy it is, isn't it? And I don't know how to clean it up. I really don't. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Adrian says at least we didn't see of your any of your underplants on the floor. I don't bother wearing those, do you? How do you manage to get into underpants, Adrian? Do you stitch two or three pairs together and stretch them out a bit? Vera, what's the date on the crisps? Oh, it's Lent next week. Yeah, we've got to give these up next week. Crisps. Oh, the 2nd of April. When does Lent finish? I might have to give these away. 2nd of April. Oh, that's way before Easter. Well, maybe I won't give up crisps for Lent then. Doesn't have to be crisps. Got to be bread. Bread, all sweets. All sweets. With no sandwiches for Maureen in Lent. She knows that. It was the same last year. Well, you don't mind Maureen, do you, love? You know how it is with the Lent thing. No sandwiches for Maureen in Lent. Nope, not allowed. No bread. No cakes. No sweets. Bread will be a real challenge for me. Seriously. Bread I find very, very difficult. And that would, of course, include the base to a pizza. Anything that's like bread. Nope, none for Lent. And I think that starts on Tuesday, doesn't it? Is it this Tuesday or the one after, Vera? Oh, Tuesday. Yes, next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is the first Sunday in Lent, which means at church we'll have all those depressing hymns in Lent. They're all written in minor keys and stuff like that. Horrible. Anyway, is your house like that at all? It's terrible, isn't it? All right, let's pop into this chat shop for the last time. Chocolate, Chris. No chocolate, Gary. No chocolate. No galaxy. No galaxy. Gary Ross lives on bread. I know what you mean, darling. Awful. Dan Woodhouse, you must be... Dan says, I think I've seen worse on... the worst Rachel... I've seen worse Rachel on Channel 5, I think it was. You can't talk, as Rachel says. I've seen your house. What a dump. Have you ever... What's all these bits of paper everywhere? Clean it up, dear. I mean, how many bingo tickets are you going to print out before you sell one or two of them? Christ. What a mess, dear. This is the only room that's like this. The bedroom's fairly tidy, you'd be surprised. Everything is in cupboards. The living room, you know. The kitchen, oh, don't even go there. I want 2 places decorated this year. My bedroom and the kitchen. Kitchen and little room there. I want both those decorated this year. It's a bit of a mess. Bit of a mess there. Good. Gareth is going to buy a Range Rover and warm the country up again. Thank you, Gareth. We're not too bad of a winter, have we really? Not really. Can't complain that we've had a crap winter at all, have we? Certainly not cold. Well, it wasn't. Wasn't cold at all the winter, was it? Love a Range Rover. Great big things, isn't they? But the petrol, Christ, how much do they drink? You know, they just drink too much. Mick says electric won't take over. The whole building industry runs on diesel and petrol. Well, I mean, trucks and things like that. I think there will be a day when everything is electric. I'm sure it will come, you know. And before people start saying, oh, but the electric isn't very good. It has to come from the coal and the gas. Yeah, at the moment, yes. But, you know, you've got to make the switch at some point. It will come slowly. No, you can't instant like this. This is what I find so annoying about people like Extinction Rebellions. I actually believe that this country is doing very well tackling all this CO2 and all that. I think we're doing extremely well. So, you know, these Extinction Rebellion people, do you pop on a little plane and go to China or something like that? Lay across the roads there and see what happens to you, you know. Disturbing people's trying to get on with their business, and people that died going to hospital. Did you see that? It's the wrong way to do it. Wrong way to do it. Good. There we are. Okie doke, boys and girls. That's it for the show today, my darlings. Thank you very much for joining us. I do a little radio show during the week. Did you know that? Perhaps you can join us. It's Reach on Air. There it is. I'll be on tomorrow morning. That's all ready for tomorrow. And we also now have a little camera running. Okay? It's only in the corner, and I don't work to the camera, but you can see what's happening while I'm doing the radio show. If you want to find that channel, just have a look around on the main page for this channel. All right? You should see somewhere featured channels, and you'll see an orange Chris Reardon show. Just hit that and subscribe there, and you can watch. There is no chat show. Sorry, I beg your pardon. There's no chat box on that while we're doing the show, though. All right. Thanks for joining us. Thanks so much to John Parrish for the tip today. There'll be another live chat show for you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Have a lovely rest of a Wednesday. I'm now going downstairs because I've got to watch last night's Holby City. And our very good friend and regular viewer and correspondent, Fran Green, was saying to me, have you watched Holby yet? Which indicates to me that something rather exciting has happened. So I'm going to watch that now with my banana sandwich. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.